Okay, so Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. So for our lesson today, I think I'm going to touch on group discussion, which is our first topic. This last week we had done making suggestion and agreement, and then you have already have a look at some of the phrases. So this week we are supposed to continue with um, asking for clarifications, making interruptions, and so on. So, as you all know, our focus for this topic is to get you all ready for group discussion. So, I had prepared this slideshow. So, let's have a look at um, what would be some of other phrases that can be helpful when it comes to group discussion tips. Okay. So, we all know that when it comes to group discussion, obviously you are going to sit down together with your friends, right? And then there will be around 3 to 4 members in a discussion. Okay, so when it comes to discussion, of course you are going to initiate them. Someone need to start the discussion, and then it will be best to have a leader in the group discussion. Okay, so you are going to um, pick a person who are going to initiate the discussion itself. So for the person to initiate, these would be some of the phrases that you can use. So uh, in the beginning, you can say, "We are here to discuss on," or "I would like to share my first opinion," or "Let me share my opinion first," or you can say, "Allow me to begin. I believe that," or "Let me start with." Okay, so these are some of the phrases that you could use when you want to start your discussion done in English. Okay, so moving on, in a discussion, obviously, when you are given a topic to discuss, you must be able to share your opinion, right? You must be able to let other members know what do you think about the topic discussed, right? What is your point? What is your stand? Okay, so when it comes to expressing opinion, what you can do is you can use all the phrases on the left column. All right, for example, you can say, "From my point of view," or "To my mind," "The way I see," "If you ask me," or "I think," right? So if you could see on the right column, the writing on red color, you could see that I had showed you an example of how you could share your opinion um, if, let's say, your discussion is about doing part-time job. All right, okay, so for example, if you are one of the member in a discussion and you want to share your opinion, what you can do is you should be able to tell your point, and then you should be able to explain, and then you should also be able to give some examples. So for example, I prepared an example there. So you can start by saying, "Hi everyone. So from my point of view, I believe that the main reason for students to do part-time job is to earn extra money. As we all know, students need a lot of money during studies. For class, we need to buy laptops and printer, use good data provider, just like all of you, right? You need good data provider, especially during online classes. Buy books and stationery and money to print assignments and projects. Even if we get money from parents or PTPTN, sometimes it might not be enough to be used throughout the semester. Thus, I think students tend to do part-time job because they want to earn extra pocket money for their studies. Alright, so this is a very good and clear point given in a discussion. That means when you are giving your opinion, you don't just give your point. Okay, you must be able to explain what you mean by that, and you also must be able to give some examples, based on your experiences, based on what you can see, and so on, based on your understanding, and so on. Okay, so I hope that in a discussion later on, you will be able to share your points, share your opinions, give example, explain about that, and make sure that all the other members understand your point of view. Okay, right. Moving on, after you had shared your opinion, you must not stop there. I mean, when you share your opinion, you never know uh, whether your group member are going to accept them or whether they are going to reject them. Okay, whether they agree with you or they disagree with your opinion. So what you can do is, after you had shared your opinion, it will be good for you to ask them, do you agree? Do you share my point of view? What do you think about my opinion? So by asking your group member, it allows other people to be participative. It allows them to be able to respond to your opinion, whether they agree with you or whether they disagree with you, right? Whether they think that what you say is right or whether they think that what you say is wrong. Okay, so based on their response, it will be a very interactive group discussion. Okay, right. So next one, like I said, when you ask the other group member how are they going to respond, so if they agree with you, they will say, I agree with you, or you can say, I strongly agree with your point, or they can say, I certainly feel that you are right, or I do feel the same too, or that is absolutely true, or I suppose that is true. So if you want to agree with the other member, this would be the phrases that you want to use. Okay. Not only you can agree with the other member, you can also disagree with them. Okay. So if you decided to disagree with opinion given by the other member, some of the tips would be, you don't want to be too aggressive and sounds provocative. You just want to be energetic, right? You don't want to point that the person is wrong, but you just want to say to the person that, you might not accept what the person is saying. So you can say, I disagree with you, or you can say, I strongly disagree with your point, or I oppose your point of view, or I think differently, or I have different opinion, I'm afraid that's not right, sorry, but that's true to a certain extent, but okay. So when you want to agree to your members, you can say, I agree, and then you could add to that, you could give reason. Same goes to disagreeing. When you disagree to someone's point or someone's opinion, you don't just stop there. You have to be able to give a reason. Tell them why you disagree with them. For example, just now, people said one of the your friend might say one of the reason why students go for part-time job is because they need the extra money. So when you hear that, and if you think that that's not right, you can simply say to the person, I'm very sorry. I strongly disagree with your point. I don't think students need extra money, and I don't think part-time job is relevant to students. I believe as a student, they must focus on their study and not uh, get involved with work because they might get distracted with their study. Okay, so you tell them that you disagree with them, and at the same time, you state your reason. I mean, you explain why you disagree with them. That will help the other member to not assume that you are being aggressive toward them, or it makes the other person understood your point of view. Okay, all right, so let me move on. Okay. Asking for explanation, right? So in a group discussion, when you are discussing things, sometimes you might not understand uh, what your friends are saying, right? You might not understand what they mean by that. Okay, so when you don't understand, of course, you want to ask them to explain. So when you want to ask them to explain, you can use all these phrases. For example, could you explain to me? Or could someone please tell me? Or just tell me the reason why. Are you saying that? Or what do you mean by that? I beg your pardon. Or you can simply say that I didn't quite get that. Could you please explain more? Okay, or could you please share with me some examples on that? Okay, so these phrases could be used when it comes to asking for explanation. All right, so uh, when does that happen, or where does that take place? So when you ask for explanation, you could use the WH question: what, when, how, okay, why, and then you could also use these phrases: what do you mean by that? I beg your pardon, and so on. Okay, so if you have a member that asks for explanation and you want to give the explanation, so you can start by saying these phrases: look, it's like this. What I mean is, the reason for this is, the main problem is, just let me explain. Oh, well, the reason is, well, the thing is, above all, we must keep in mind that, you could use these phrases to start giving explanation to your friend. Okay, interruption. Now, next one, in a discussion, sometime you also have a member who seem to talk a lot, or who talk very fast, and you feel that you would like to stop the person for a while because you might not get the points, or you might not understand certain things, right? So interruption happen when you would like to stop the person from continuing to speak because you have a question to ask, right? Or you have something to add to that. Okay, so when you want to interrupt a person, you would like to be polite, and you would like to wait until the person finish his or her sentence before asking permission to interrupt. It will also be good if you could use hand gesture, just raise up your hand, or maybe, use your hand a bit to indicate that you want to say something. Okay, so after you have raised up your hand, so it'll be good for you to start off by saying sorry to interrupt, or excuse me, can I say something here? Sorry to interrupt you there. Excuse me for a second. I need to add something to that. Or sorry, let me add to that. Or may I say something here? So this will be some of the phrases that is good to be used if you need to stop someone from continuing to speak, or if you like to add a point to what the person is saying, okay, in a discussion, right? Okay. Making suggestion, I think we had covered this topic last week, okay. For it, most of the time, if you want to make a suggestion, you can say, I would like to suggest, my suggestion is, I suggest that, remember the pronunciation, I suggest that it is J, is J, alright, not suggest. I heard many of my students previously, when it comes to discussion, they always say, my suggestion with suggest. They use G. It is not G, it is J. Okay? My suggestion, suggest. I would like to suggest. Okay? Right, so that will be the right pronunciation. Okay. Counter suggestion. We disagree. Yeah. If you want to disagree with your friend's suggestion, so you could say, I wouldn't do that. But if we don't do that, I'm afraid I have to disagree with you. So this is very similar to disagree with someone, right? Okay. So adding point, sometime in a discussion, you would like to add in, you would like to, give more example to that. So in doing so, and sometimes when you explain the first reason, the second reason, so you want to add more things to that, right? You could use these phrases in addition to that. To that, I would like to add, let me add more to that, or moreover, as I was saying, all this is good to be used when you explain, because people will know where is the direction that you are heading when it comes to discussion, right? When it comes to sharing your points. So people would know that, okay, you have stated the first reason, now you are moving on into the second reason, and then you move on into the third reason, and so on. Okay? Alright, so in a discussion, similar to any presentation or what, or just talking, obviously you need to have a conclusion. So in a group, when you want to wrap up the discussion, there should be a conclusion to it. Alright, so when you come to the ending of a discussion, it will be good for you to recap, to repeat some of the points highlighted during discussion, and then maybe you could mention some values. Why is it important for you to discuss about that? Maybe you could add some wishes, what are your hopes, and then what are you trying to achieve based on what you find out in a discussion. So that could be in a conclusion. So to wrap up the discussion, you could use these phrases. In a conclusion, we had discussed about, as a conclusion, or in a nutshell, taking everything into consideration, we all agreed that. So you could repeat again. What have you agreed on in a discussion, and what have you disagreed, and what would be the solution to that. Okay, so that will be the conclusion. So in a discussion, there should be someone to initiate, someone to start off, and then you must discuss the issue given, and towards the end, you must conclude what you had discussed. in the discussion. Alright? Okay, so that will be a complete cycle of a group discussion. Okay, so what kind of topics that will be given to your group discussion? So basically, the topic is very general. We will normally ask you to discuss about anything related to social issues, anything related to your interest, your topic of interest, right? Anything that is related to values, awareness, being a citizen, publics, being a student, all the issues related to your life, right? It's not something that is heavy, but it is something that is general. So, for example, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of part-time job, or discuss the advantages and disadvantages of social media, or maybe a topic about a person character is often influenced by others around them. Discuss who has the greatest influence on a person character. Or maybe a topic on electronic media like mobile phone, computer, electronic games has an impact on young people today. Discuss what aspect of young person's life is most affected by electronic media. And maybe the last topic is discuss on what are the most important qualities needed to be a good life partner. So I think from this list of topics, examples of topics, you could see that the topics that mostly given to students to do their discussion is quite general. It is based on your background knowledge, right? It is based on your common sense. So when it comes to the discussion, you are supposed to be able to discuss about what would be the causes, what would be the effects, what would be the solutions, and what would be the values behind it. Why do people need to pay attention to that particular issues or to that particular topics, right? For example, let us take the first topic, discuss the advantages and disadvantages of part-time job. Okay, so a lot of students nowadays do part-time job during their studies. In your discussion, include the following: what causes student to do part-time job? What are the advantages and disadvantages of part-time job? A solution to avoid problems when doing part-time jobs during studies, and maybe some values behind it: work disciplines, tolerate, time management, leaderships, and so on. Okay, so when you are given this topic, how to start off, right? So maybe in the beginning of the discussion, you guys could start off by talking about, okay, everyone, so our topic for the day would be students doing part-time job during their studies. Maybe we could start off our discussion with what is the reason, what caused student to do part-time job. So in my opinion, I believe that students do part-time job because they need to earn the extra money. Extra money is needed because you can give examples and so on. So after you had shared the causes, the reason behind it, maybe the other partner will agree or will disagree, and then they will share their opinions too. So once you had done with that, then you move on into what would be the advantages and disadvantages of part-time job. Why do you think a student do part-time jobs and so on? Okay, and then when you talk about disadvantages, so what would be the solution to it? In terms of time management, normally students who do part-time job, they are distracted. So what would be the right solution? Maybe they need to have a better time management plan, or maybe they need to prepare a schedule. Maybe they need to uh, have a work discipline. They need to be able to be the leader of their life and so on. So while you are discussing about all those things, you could mention about the value behind it, you could mention about the solutions, and all this will take place for 10 minutes. So in a discussion, there will be 3 to 4 members. You all are going to discuss about the topic given, and then you are supposed to wrap up the discussion for 10 minutes. Okay, so that will be the flow of the discussion. Okay, so uh, I I shared with you some of the points that you could highlight if you were given this topic. So the reason or advantages and disadvantages. So in a discussion, when it comes to advantages, you could mention about this point. You don't need to tell it all. You don't need to touch on everything. Maybe 1 or 2 advantages, right? Depending on the member. So as you all know, students do part-time job because first of all, they want to develop good time management skill. When they have many things to do, they have to study, and at the same time they have to work. Obviously, they need to have a good time management skills. They need to pay attention to the timetables and then so on. Okay, another advantages would be extra income, extra saving. During this pandemic, I think cash is king. So you need cash in order to survive, and then by doing part-time job, you'll be able to earn extra money and not rely too much on your educational loan, on PTN alone. I mean, at least you could get extra money to buy additional things like laptops and so on. Okay. Another advantages of part-time job would be you will be able to learn the value of money. um, if you just if people just hand over the money to you, you don't I don't say you don't appreciate, but you don't care that much about the money that people hand over to you. But if you work for it, I think the value would be higher. You would appreciate it more, you would spend it wisely, and then you would have better satisfaction towards the money that you earn through your hard work. Okay, and part-time job also provide trainings and work experiences. This one cannot be denied. When you work, you will work with many people. You will have your boss, and then you will have your partner at the workplace, and then you will have your clients, you will have your customer, you will have your vendors and so on. So all these will definitely give good experiences of how to networking, how to talk to people, how to manage certain tasks in the workplace. So it can serve as a trainings for you, right? Now, apart from advantages of part-time job, it also has some disadvantages. For example, part-time job, it takes too much time and money. If you work for in a week, you work for 3 to 4 days in a week, I think it is too much time for a student, because as a student you have to study, and most of your classes are 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. Okay, so if you are working from Monday to Thursday, that would be a hassle for you. And on top of that, if you work far from your campus, you could be spending more money than what you are earning, right? Especially money on traveling. Let's say you study in Seberang Perai, in Polytechnic Seberang Perai, but you are working in Kulim. So every single day you have to, commute from Pematang Power to Kulim, Pematang Power to Kulim. You go there and then you come back. So you might be spending more money than you have, right? Okay. So that will be the disadvantages. So the solution is always check the distance of the workplace and always make sure that you don't work too much. I mean, you pick and choose. Okay, when do you want to work? It is best that you work during the weekends only, not during the weekdays, because weekdays you will be having classes all day long, right? And then at night maybe you need to do your assignment, so it will be best for you to work during the weekend. Okay. The other disadvantages would be you could easily get distracted from studies when working, so that can also happen. As you all know, even for now, students are easily distracted, with the games, Instagram, Facebook, and so on. So if you do part-time job, you could also get easily distracted from the work pressure. When people start working, they are tired. So when they are tired, they come back home, they don't have the energy, they just want to rest. So when you want to rest, you don't want to attend the class, you don't want to do the projects, and so on. So that could be the disadvantages of part-time job. So the solution to it, you must be able to balance between your studies and also your working hours. So by being able to balance, you will be able to manage both well. Okay. And last but not least, part-time job can also be a disadvantageous for you, where when you do a part-time job, sometimes because you are young, right, and because you are just a part-timer, sometimes you can easily get cheated or get hurt or bullied because they treat you as youngsters. I mean, they treat you as a newcomers. So they see you as someone who has no experiences or less experiences. You are not the expert. You are not qualified yet. You are still learning. So some workplace, they discriminate part-timers. I mean, they don't give the same benefit as what the full-timers are getting, right? You don't get the benefit of break. You don't get the benefit of maybe meals. You don't get the benefit of medical insurance and so on. So that could also be disadvantages of part-time job. If let's say incidents happen, are they going to cover on behalf of you? Are they going to pay for all the damage happened to you? So most of the time they don't do that for the part-timer, right? So that could also be the disadvantages. So you have to be able to choose the right types of work to do. If possible, choose something that is not too risky. Okay, choose something that will not jeopardize your health, will not jeopardize your time, all right? And then will not question you as a student, because sometimes when it comes to work, right, your boss, they know that you are a student and then they know that you must attend all the classes. But some boss, they just don't care. I mean, when you say that you have to go to class and so on, sometimes they might reject. I mean, they do not allow you to do that. They simply ask you to work extra hours, to replace other worker, or to work extra time, and then they threaten you and so on. Okay, so that can happen. You can be bullied. So during the part-time job, so that will be the disadvantages, right? So if that happen, you must be brave. You must stand up for yourself, and then you must be able to know your rights. Okay, know your rights and negotiate with your superiors, right? Negotiate with them. Okay, so discuss the advantages. So this is another topic. Social media is quite famous, right? uh, Related to social issues. So if this is the topic that you must discuss, maybe some of the point for advantages of social media: it is low cost, build credibility, connection. Some of the disadvantages: not safe, secure, scams and harassment, time consuming. So you could mention all those if you get this topic. This is another topic: who has the greatest influence on a person character. So when it comes to this, maybe in a discussion you could mention parents could be your greatest influence, teachers could be your greatest influence, friends could be your greatest influence, famous personality could be your greatest influence in your life, right? So, and then when you mention them, you must give reason why do you say that they are the greatest influence in your life. Okay. uh, this topic, electronic media like mobile phone, discuss what aspect of young person life is most affected. Okay, when it comes to electronic media, which aspect of this is most affected by electronic media? So you could mention study habits, when you have gadgets, gaming and so on, your study habits is mostly affected. Your daily habits, your sleeping and so on, your social relationship could also be affected, your worldview could also be affected when it comes to electronic media. It could affect in a positive way or in a negative way, right? So you could brought up all those things in a discussion. Okay. Discuss what are the most important qualities needed to be a good life partner. Okay, so if you get this topic, maybe you could bring out some of the qualities, maybe qualities related to religious matter, qualities related to wealth, having stable income and so on, qualities related to physical look, good looking and so on, or qualities related to personalities, fun to be with and so on. Okay. So what's most important is in a discussion, everyone must contribute. Okay, everyone must contribute their ideas, their opinion, their reason, and then everyone must respond to each other. And it should be a natural discussion conducted in English, right? It should be interactive and so on. Okay. So I think that's all. I think I have covered all the phrases needed when it comes to um, group discussion. So maybe later I will have maybe I could create a task for you all to do in order to get you ready for your discussion. Okay, so that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening. I will get back to you in the class WhatsApp. Okay, thank you.